For the past 20-plus years, it's become a tradition for me to watch the Steven Spielberg classic Jaws as a way to ring in the summer. So much so that my kids would walk by the TV and say, "Dad's watching Jaws again. I guess summer has started." This year, that took place on the 4th of July weekend. And this time, I was not alone. This time, my wife watched with me. She made a comment after the short credit roll that this might have been the first time she's watched Jaws all the way through in one sitting. She then followed it up with this: "We should watch Jaws 2 next weekend." Well, I have absolutely no problem with that. Released in 1978, Jaws 2 is the continuing story of Chief Martin Brody and a giant menacing shark. What this movie lacks in originality, it makes up with familiarity. It feels like we're revisiting friends we enjoy being around. Brody and his family, the hapless deputy Hendricks, and all the quirky townsfolk. The film opens with an amazing new title theme from the iconic composer John Williams. As two scuba divers swim past, we see the adventurers arrive at the sunken shell of the Orca, Quint's boat from the first film. The Jaws theme rises. And a great white shark attacks the divers as they're taking photos of the ship. The camera flashing off photos as it falls to the ocean floor. We then see Chief Brody racing to the shore in his blue truck. It turns out he's racing to the dedication ceremony for a new hotel on Amity Island. Everybody's favorite scumbag mayor, Larry Vaughn, is dedicating the hotel, along with Miss Amity, Tina Wilcox, who cuts the ribbon. We then go through the cast of teenagers that will soon become shark bait. While in the darkened water, a single fin rises and sinks. A passing boat informs Brody that an anchored vessel with a diver's flag has been spotted out in the ocean with no signs of passengers. Later on, Brody is being swamped by the town's crazy inhabitants who, in hindsight, act like a bunch of Karens, complaining about everything from a kid on his CB radio to the hot neighbor dancing in her towel in front of her open window. Back in the water, we see what I can only describe as paradunking, as Mike Brody barely escapes being eaten by the shark. Next, off to a singular water skier and her mother, enjoying some surf when suddenly a single shark fin emerges and a chase between the shark and boat occurs. John Williams once again takes over with an amazing piece of music. The skier has no chance against Williams and the shark. The shark then sets its sights on the boat. Fighting off the shark, the woman dressed for gardening dumps what in today's world would be $200 worth of gasoline all over herself. Then, in an act of bravery or a complete stupidity, she grabs a flare gun and sets herself and the shark ablaze, turning the shark into Two-Face. After a quick round of questioning, Brody starts to wonder, is there another shark swimming off in the waters? Meanwhile, Hendricks is on the police launch, dragging the bottom of the ocean, when they hook the end of the movie. I mean, a power line. Back on the beach, the unlucky but still hot Tina is playing keep away with her boyfriend's hat soon after experiencing the howling boat explosion, killing a skier and the driver. Running over the dunes, she stumbles into a killer whale with a giant bite taken out of it. Brody calls in the assistance of the now female Matt Hooper to figure out what happened to the whale. Brody asks if sharks communicate like dolphins, and if a shark was killed, could another shark come looking for it? He's quickly cut off by the veterinarian, who says,
"Sharks don't take things personally, Mr. Brody."
This scene was obviously filmed before Jaws 4: The Revenge was made. Brody, back on the beach, wades into the water to retrieve a jump scare of the burnt remains of the boat driver. Apparently, too overcooked for the shark to enjoy as a meal. Brody is going shark crazy, hanging out in his lookout tower and shooting at a school of bluefish.
Just bluefish! Bluefish! Chief, it's a school of bluefish! It's just bluefish!
Now, days after recovering the diver's camera from the beginning of the film, apparently Amity doesn't have a 1-hour photo, Brody brings a photo of a shark to the town board, who turn around and fire him. Sexy but unlucky Tina, after falling face first into a dead whale, is back on the water looking to get a piece of action when her boat is assaulted by the shark, with her boyfriend Eddie falling in the water. Guess who's not going to make it? That's right, the teenage guy trying to get laid in a horror movie. Discovering that his kids are headed for the lighthouse, Brody sets out to the conclusion of the film, where the rich kids you can't wait for the shark to eat are sailing. On his way to the lighthouse, Brody stumbles across the boat with Tina cowering below deck. Meanwhile, the caravan of sailing yuppies is attacked again by the shark, with Michael almost ending up as shark food. Tying the stranded boats together, the group is slowly floating towards Cable Junction, and then the Atlantic Ocean. Brody finally catches up to the kids as they have run aground just short of Cable Junction and begins to tow them to land. But we know better. Brody is attacked by the shark and runs into the rocks. Dropping the tow hooks in an attempt to tow the kids, Brody snags the power cable from earlier. He climbs into a blow-up raft, and as his son Sean is eyed by the shark, he pounds on the cable with an oar to attempt to attract it. The tension mounts as Brody continues to taunt the shark, which the shark doesn't like. As the shark attacks, Brody throws himself back, and the shark bites the power line and is electrocuted. John Williams then takes over for the happy ending. With a budget of $20 million, Jaws 2 made almost $10 million in the opening weekend box office, and a worldwide gross of almost $200 million, almost securing a third installment. Richard Dreyfuss was approached to star in the sequel, but production on Close Encounters of the Third Kind was running behind, and he declined to participate. Steven Spielberg was quoted as saying, "Making a sequel to anything is just a cheap, carny trick." So, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, Jaws 2 makes its splash in theaters. The year was 1978.